Our authority was formed and put together in the latter part of 2008. There are 5 of us that serve as volunteers on that board, 4 that are appointed by the mayor along with myself, and Carl Eager is Leda Cartagena and Jackie Watson, and then there's one governor's appointee who's Pat Duffy, who's presently serving as the chairperson of the authority. Our first mission when we got together at the end of 2008, the beginning of 2009, was to put together a mission statement, which I want to read to you so you understand the guidelines that we're working under. Namely, that's the Holyoke Redevelopment Authority's mission is developing and implementing urban renewal plans, thus eliminating blighting conditions that inhibit neighborhood reinvestment, improving the quality of life in our neighborhoods, fostering and promoting business expansion and job creation, and maintaining and attracting development that will revitalize Holyoke's economy and cultural growth while making our community more attractive, prosperous, and self-sufficient. The most important part of understanding this mission is recognizing that we are identifying necessary projects in our neighborhoods where private investment alone will not suffice. And we're developing projects through public assistance. We're trying to develop the right conditions to foster private investments. That's really what our mission is all about. After that, developing that mission statement, we started the visioning process where we wanted to put together, with public input, the first parts of what needs to happen in the city of Holyoke, what our focus should be. When the Redevelopment Authority was put together, it was clear that the four census tracts that we've been focusing on, the lower wards in Holyoke, was where the focus needed to be placed in the very beginning. You'll hear us talk about the 4 census tracts, and they are essentially South Holyoke, the Flats, downtown, and Churchill. As part of that visioning process, we knew we were going to need a consultant. We went out and interviewed a number of different firms. VHB, it's represented by Jeff here today, was the firm that helped us with that. The visioning process also requires some funding, which the Redevelopment Authority now come with. We were fortunate enough to be able to get a grant from DHCD to make that process happen. We held 3 public hearings. Over 100 citizens each attended those public hearings. The vision plan was produced and presented to the city. Jeff is going to go into greater detail as to what that plan looks like and how we're going to use it in the urban renewal planning process, but it's a terrific plan and a great start. After that, the focus in the last few months of the Redevelopment Authority has been to start the urban renewal planning process. It's a legislative process. It's a pretty strict process, but the guidelines are really going to make sure that the process works best for us, as it has for a number of other urban areas throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This process that we're working on, again with VHB, also required some funding. We got a grant through Neighborhood Works America and HAP for this next step. Again, Jeff is going to take you through what that next step is and kind of give you a guideline as to when this urban renewal plan is likely to be produced and what we're going to do with it. But our goal throughout this process is to be as transparent and open as necessary and possible. Just like in the visioning process, we want to make sure that there is plenty of opportunity for all the citizens of Holyoke, but especially the citizens of those 4 census tracts that we're focusing on, get as much input as possible into the process. We plan on working very closely with City Councilor Kevin Jourdain and his redevelopment committee, the City Council, as well as we continue to work very closely with Mayor Kluda. And I have to mention that our redevelopment authority is staffed by Kathy Anderson and the group from development. They do an absolutely terrific job, and it's a pleasure to work with Kathy, with you, and all of your staff. You do a great job for us. And why we're here today with you, we are obviously all focused on the city of Holyoke, and while the initiation of the presence of the High Performance Computing Center might complicate an urban renewal plan, it is for all the right reasons. It's extraordinary to be able to look at an urban renewal plan while we're also looking at this kind of an investment in the city of Holyoke. It's just critical that as we embark down our road and you embark down your road, we are going in the same direction. I'm confident that we will be. I think it's a very exciting time for the city, and I think I speak for my redevelopment authority members that we're all proud to be a part of it. So it's a pretty exciting time. So I'm going to let Jeff from VHB, as I said, Jeff and his staff worked very closely with us on putting the vision plan together and continue to help us down the urban renewal path. So Jeff, I'm going to leave the rest up to you.
Thank you, Tom. And thank you all for having me. I'm happy to be here today. I'm going to go through hopefully a rather brief presentation and then leave time for questions and comments so we can focus on any particular concerns you may have. Also, just to orient people, we start off the process. We've been working a little over a month now. So we start off by identifying an area that we want to focus on for the potential urban renewal area. And just to orient people, obviously the Connecticut River here, first, second, third canal here, Heritage State Park is right there. Basically, this red line pretty much follows the 4 census tracts that Tom mentioned earlier. So that is our beginning point for looking at the urban renewal plan. What I'm going to talk about today is how it builds upon the vision plan that Tom referred to. Urban renewal process really is, the intent is to focus on the most distressed properties and neighborhoods, and it creates an implementation plan for economic investment. Basically, public actions intended to stimulate private investment in the area. I don't know why that popped up, but sorry, Dave. The Urban Renewal Program is it's a Massachusetts program. It exists in a number of states, but Massachusetts has its own rules and regulations for developing an urban renewal plan. It's called Chapter 121B, and there is a certain, you have to plug your urban renewal plan into the regulations developed by the state. But it's basically, as I said earlier, intended to revitalize neighborhoods, deal with substandard, decadent, or blighted areas for the purpose of encouraging any one of these or a combination of these uses. And I'm sure you can see opportunities for all these to plug into the Holyoke urban renewal area. As I mentioned earlier, it's really a framework for setting forth what public actions are necessary to stimulate private development. And that comes with job creation and revitalization and redevelopment of derelict and poor property within a larger area. Many people refer to it as the but-for argument. This is called but-for government action and involvement. The project area alone will not be redeveloped by the activities of private enterprise. And what we need to do in an urban renewal plan is make the case that an area is stagnant economically and hasn't been moving forward on its own, basically through the courses of private enterprise, and therefore public action is necessary to stimulate private investment. As Tom mentioned, we are building from the vision plan. When the city first embarked on the preparation of the vision plan for what we call the center city area, all along it was the intent that the vision plan would lead into an urban renewal plan. So we're basically taking steps forward leading towards an urban renewal plan. I think Kathy may have gone over some of the elements of their vision plan in a prior presentation.